Alright fellas, now I thought it was over for Wilder. After that Zhang loss, it all looked pretty grim, like the end of the road was clearly in sight. Yet there's been a pause on this retirement, and Deontay Wilder has officially announced his first fight in his comeback journey. This fight is set to happen in late June against 24-5 Tyrrell Herndon. Not the big comeback which most of us expected, yet I reckon this could set him on the path back to the big stage, with huge fights potentially awaiting him down the line. But just quickly, if this is your first time here, my name's Cloister and I make boxing videos to help keep you informed. So make sure to subscribe and I'll keep you in the loop. Now, the last we saw of Deontay Wilder was his fight against Big Bang Zhang on the 5v5 card in June of last year. This feels like ages ago, but truly it wasn't that long ago. In what was seen as a last chance dance for Wilder after losing to Parker, seemingly it ended up being just that. Wilder looked like a shell of his old self, with Zhang getting the brutal win. From the height of his career only a couple years before to multiple losses, it all looked pretty bleak. Everyone kinda assumed this was the end of the road, like where does he go from here? Yet since then, over the last 9 months, there's been many rumours of what could be next, with everything pointing to him returning to the ring rather than taking a seat in the retirement home. But what these plans were didn't look certain, who could be next being the major question, and even a couple videos ago I was saying his next opponent would be retirement, because simply I didn't think he would want to rebuild from the bottom. But that's exactly what seems to be in the cards for Wilder. In June, he finds himself in the ring with Tyrrell Herndon on a BLK Prime card. Now I thought BLK Prime was long gone. Obviously not. BLK Prime is still somehow alive and going. They seem to have gone more local since the Broner and Crawford bouts, hosting smaller talents, such as next month's bout they're hosting a H2O Silver fight, which... good to see Jake dump his major prospect after only one loss. But I remember hearing a couple months ago that Wilder and Haney might be fighting on BLK Prime, but after Haney didn't end up, I thought no way Wilder could be. But hey, here we are. Well, who's his opponent that he's fighting? Has he had a single bout of note? Not really. The only one worth noting is a loss against prospect Richard Torres Jr., where he got TKO'd in the second round. He's coming off a split decision 6th rounder, and now he finds himself in the ring against the Bronze Bomber. He's a journeyman, plain and simple. He's been put there to lose, but really should have we expected much more. Yet I do want to defend Wilder on this decision. It isn't him against a megastar, yes, but he needs a fight or two to regain a vague resemblance of confidence if he wants to truly try and make a run at the big guys in the division once again. And it wouldn't be impossible for him to try and make a comeback. Outside of Usyk, the two other biggest talents in the division at the moment are Dubois and Parker, who have both had major losses in which it looked unlikely that they would ever reach those heights once again. After Parker lost to Joyce, he found himself scrapping a win over cruiserweight Jack Massey, who was brought up a division just to fight him, and then found himself fighting a bloke who's just as much of a journeyman as Wilder's opponent in Opaloo. Yet from there, he managed to carve out a path back to the big lights with a regained sense of confidence. Dubois has done this also. After his loss to Joyce, he found himself fighting a Romanian journeyman in Dino, and then an American journeyman in Cusumano. What Wilder is doing isn't an odd path to take, and current examples at the top of the division show that you can make a comeback. Yet can Wilder successfully do what they did is a whole other conversation. Wilder is one of the less technical boxers in the whole division, and if his power is truly gone, that could very much spell the end. You would hope that he's been working more on defense than his technical ability, yet after Malik Scott had him doing these sorts of drills in his last camp where he was spinning around, turning his back to his opponent, I'm not sure how much improvement we can truly see. At 38, Wilder is no spring chicken, and this is absolutely a last chance shot. Lose against Herndon and his career is over. Pack up and you're off to fight Jake Paul. Yet what's the point of making a comeback at this stage? Well, some of the biggest fights of Wilder's career probably still await him if he can get a few wins under his belt. As I say all the time, boxing is run by money. And what does Wilder have? He has a huge brand built off his name. He's still one of the biggest names in the sport. You have him knock out a few journeymen, let that go viral, and people will be saying, well, he's back. Then all of a sudden he's on a Saudi card in a big showdown against an opponent who might not have the name he has, but, well, Wilder would be getting paid, so he wouldn't care. They're moving towards what I would call the final cash out, with the Joshua fight being most likely the goal. They both have huge names, with Joshua's obviously being the bigger of the two, yet with both at the tail end of their careers, it could end up being a decent fight and good build up. The Saudis certainly want this fight. That's why they did the whole Day of Reckoning card. This is still a massive attraction and they know it. They want to make this happen. So this is the first step in possibly making this a reality. Or he wins a couple fights and fights an upcomer like an Atuma or Caballel, allowing the Saudis to continue to build up the names of their prospects whilst also making it a big fight. Or who knows, weirder things could happen. The other day, Chisora was made the IBF mandatory, leapfrogging up 7 places to become the mandatory challenger for Dubois' belt. That was horrendously fishy, but hey, it's boxing. If Usyk retires in a couple fights and the belts scatter, there's no reason we couldn't see a Caballel versus a fighter like Wilder for the WBC belt, with Wilder being thrusted up the ranks to be allowed to do so. He's currently ranked still 12th with the WBC, so it wouldn't be a surprise. These belt organisations get paid a percent as sanctioning fees, so they generally want to make whatever fight would make them the most money, and a Wilder fight would make way more than say a Sanchez, simply put. Although I kinda hoped Wilder would have retired, I'm alright with seeing him back in the ring. If we can get a glimpse of the Wilder of old, it probably is worth it. If he can channel a bit of himself from a few years ago and have enough of a run to say make the Joshua fight happen, I'm sure that's something that all us fight fans want to see. Yet, I guess only time will tell what lays in the future of Wilder. He's got to get past Herndon first, and I guess we'll see in a few months. But now, I want to hear what you think. What do you think about Deontay Wilder making a comeback? Should he retire, or do you think he still has a title run left in him? I want to hear all your thoughts down below in the comments. I always love to hear what y'all are thinking. But if you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. It does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.